What's up?
Hello,
Hey,
hello,
Everyone, welcome.
hello.
Welcome to we're on episode 4 now, I believe, of the SCR podcast. Unfortunately, Bilbo cannot join us. So beforehand, we did talk, and we got Shacknu in to replace Bilbo in for today's pod, and then uh, they raced Daymar Rally yesterday, and now these two aren't on speaking terms anymore after something that happened. I'm kidding. We're going to be talking a lot today about Daymar Rally as it happened yesterday. It was a great event. These two both competed, both of them, and did really well. Unofficially, we're waiting until final results, but this looks like it might be a 1-2 finish between Jacqueline first, Shacknu second on their teams. So it's pretty crazy, pretty exciting.
Yeah, official results
Yeah.
will be releasing tomorrow. I think they just need to verify. I don't know if it was based on the server, which server you're on, and the time it took you to get to the finish, or they were validating some checkpoints or something. But yeah,
Yeah, it's really exciting. How you guys doing today? You guys having a good day so far?
I slept a lot. I slept like a baby after that race, man. I was so tired. I think I slept like 10 or 11 hours.
yeah, I'm the opposite.
I was exhausted.
I
You
was the
guys
complete
must both
opposite.
be just
I
you really?
we started gathering about 5 p.m. Local time for me, and
Yeah.
then the race actually started at about 8:15 p.m. and we kept going. So we finished our race at around 2:30 in the morning. So, but
Wow.
we stuck around on Discord and just watched the rest of the race till the end, which finished at around 4:30 in the morning. So I went
Oh.
to yeah. So I went to bed at around 5 a.m. and then I woke up at 10 a.m. because I had a lunch to go to at noon. So I only slept 5 hours since Daymar. So yeah.
Yeah. How you feeling, Jack?
Jeez.
You must be just exhausted
Honestly,
then.
I'm great actually. Like
It'll
five
hit him
hours is all I
tomorrow.
need, and I'm quite a
Yeah,
night owl, so I'm fine.
yeah.
That's
Tomorrow
good.
he's gonna go to work and fall asleep at his desk,
I'm
just
working from home
face down
tomorrow
over
just for
again.
that exact reason.
Good
That's good.
idea. Good idea. Yeah. So yeah, these two both did a great job. I think we should introduce Shacknu a little bit. Shacknu's been a major part of racing in Star Citizen. If anyone's not aware, he ran. I don't know. Was it the first racing class with XGR? Did you start that up, or was there some before that?
Yep, I was the first instructor
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, it taught me everything I know. Literally, the only reason I'm a good racer today is because of this man. He taught me everything. I know Bill Boy feels pretty similar about it too. Same with playing Fox. So yeah, we need those classes back, Shaq. Man. Come back, man.
I remember when I actually started researching Star Citizen Racing. Literally, the first thing that came up were some clips from Black Maze and then Shacknu's racing class lessons. So definitely helped me understand what I need to know to actually start in racing. It was really really good.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll have a lot more about Shaq at the end of the pod. I think we'll talk more about ask some questions about how you got into it and everything. But I think with all the action that happened yesterday, I think talking about Daymar Rally to start off the podcast today is probably a good idea. It was seriously so action packed. I think it might be the best Daymar so far. It was definitely from a viewing perspective. It was the most. It went fast. It didn't seem like there was a huge delays at the start of it. It started pretty quickly, and yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
even the performance. Sorry, Shaq, no, you were gonna say something, but yeah, even the performance of the servers. I mean, there were some hiccups, and I know that there were some issues in the. They were running it on 4 servers, and 2 servers managed to finish. The other 2 were having some issues. So
Mm.
that's super super unfortunate. But the 2 servers that were running, um, I think they I would say they ran pretty well. There were some stutters and some server errors in the beginning, but I don't think we actually encountered a single server error during the race, did we? I don't believe so.
I'm,
I'm
I'm
not
not checking
sure.
it. Yeah, did you guys have any?
Any server errors? I think we had one before the race
Yeah,
started, but during the race, I don't think we had a single server error.
yeah. I
That's
think it
honestly pretty
was pretty
impressive.
smooth, to be completely honest. I mean, it was my first Daymar experience, um, and I know, in the past, in the days before server meshing, there were major problems with getting everything set up and going. So this year, I think definitely showed that CIG is taking the optimization side of things to a much better direction. So
Oh
from a
yeah, yeah,
performance standpoint, it's definitely was a relatively smooth experience. I mean, there were some frame issues at some points of the race, but you know, with all those people around, it's to be expected, you know, right? But I think honestly, the server itself was juggling between 25 and 30 FPS for the majority of the race. So I think it was pretty good.
Hmm.
pretty good. Yeah, honestly, really impressive what they've been able to do. I think if you have to actually Daymar Rally proof server meshing works, I think personally, I say the answer is yes to that question.
Yeah, I'm glad CIG was able to take time off of their weekend to help facilitate that. I don't know exactly how they did that. I heard private servers or something, but I mean, the fact that they just, took their own time outside of work and hopped in and helped everybody out. I think that's really cool.
Oh yeah,
So
Yeah,
definitely.
props to
it's
them for
really
that.
it's awesome how they support. They support all things, like not just the racing. They'll support all parts of the community, but it's all whenever if the community comes out with something, it's always really cool how they'll be so quick to show up and help out and support. Which I love it.
Yeah. I don't think the thing exactly was private servers because there were third parties. You know, there were a bit of griefers here and there. So either those griefers managed to get in on the invite list, or the servers weren't exactly private, which I don't believe they were private. I just think that the servers were like very actively being monitored by CIG, so it just made it way easier to keep everything running smoothly. That's what I think, anyways. Obviously, I have absolutely no confirmation on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they gave like priority servers or something like a server that the groups could join in on, where the Daymar group had like priority to get in, but I don't think they were fully private. Like anyone could still get in
Yeah.
because there was still. I mean, we'll talk about it. There was a little bit of a few hits from pirates or griefers or whatever you want to call them. I mean, that's also part of Daymar Rally.
Yeah, it is part of Daymar Rally,
Is
so it did cause some
yeah.
unfortunate mishaps, but yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we have. I think we got a good graphic. If you want to show it first, sent to us by Crucian. I don't know if you got that queued up, Jacketed,
I did, but I
of
moved things
the
around when we
size.
changed things. But yeah, there we go. So yeah,
Let's see if we can pull
so
it
these
up.
are the
Yeah.
numbers of racers and vehicles and teams that actually took part in the Daymar Rally. The numbers are absolutely huge. So close to
Yeah,
600
it's
racers
crazy.
total.
Yeah. USA always on top. France. I thought it was cool that for the French teams were pretty close behind.
Oh yeah.
I wonder how many. I do have to wonder how many Canadian teams get lumped into the USA teams list because that
I mean,
I
I
feel like that always
technically joined the
happens to us
USA team, so
Canadians.
I don't even think my flag was even on a list of
They
teams.
should put them all. Yeah, where's the Malta flag up there? It should be up
I'll bring it here right
there.
here.
Nice. Oh, really? Oh
Yeah,
man, that's
this
awesome.
is the
That's
Inter-Atmosphere
those.
shirt. Yeah, just arrived this
They
week.
they even put your flag on
Yeah.
the arm. I didn't think they went that. Is your name on the back of that
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, let me
Nice,
just
nice. That's awesome. Yeah, jacket in. Did they give you a number or just your name on that
No,
one?
just the name. There's the Star
Okay.
Citizen stuff here. There's the Citizen Con, and then there's like, which side is it? Yeah, there's just. I believe this is 2954 written in Banu.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and it
love
says
that.
Enter
That's cool.
Atmosphere. Or wait, yeah, it says Atmo Esports on the side of the shirt. So yeah, pretty cool shirt.
Yeah, sorry, a little off topic, but I just
Yeah, a
thought that
little
was
off
cool, and
topic, but you
and
know,
it's from Atmo too as
it is
well.
from
So I get
Atmo. So
that.
yeah.
But yeah, huge race. Yeah, almost 600 racers. I think it's close to. I think last year about that number, or I don't know if we
I
have any
don't
figures from
remember by
before.
heart. I think Shacknu is much more qualified to tell you there.
Yeah,
Do you remember, Shaq?
I think there were more racers last year, but it was spread across more servers. I think they were tighter with the signups this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely
What'd you
But
say? How
put
many?
a very strict
this
cutoff
one
time.
felt bigger with them being able to put more people in every server. This one felt bigger from my
Yeah,
perspective.
Yeah, we had like
from the
200
stream
people on the
perspective
server,
too.
so
Yeah, from the watching perspective, from watching the setup, and then like in previous, like there's still like a decent number of people on a track, but there wasn't. I don't know. This year it was like watching everyone set up on the line. It was so much more, and there's a lot more action to follow. How many rookie teams does that say? I can't quite
It
make
says
it out on my
62
screen.
rookie teams, 107 veteran teams. So that's
Wow,
a
62.
pretty good sign up for people on their first time. This
Yeah,
this says
that's
teams though. I'm not
awesome.
sure if it includes like people like me, right? Who I was in a team that's already been taking part in Daymar since forever. So
Yeah, you'd be probably on one of the vet teams. They probably call it most likely.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really awesome. I think we have the best moment. We have a clip of the best moment from the stream. I don't know.
Yep.
Do you want to go to that right away?
Yeah, I'll need to set it up. I don't show all
Yeah,
the
it's
the crazy stuff. Here.
it's the reason these two don't really want to talk anymore.
Yeah, I need to find which one it is because I have a bunch of clips set up here. I think it's this one. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it's this one. Let me see.
So for some context, Jackaden was on Team Ramp Rocks, which included it was Jackaden, Gerbo, Shugo. Here we go. Yeah, look at this, shooting at each other. In the back, or sorry, at the front is Ramp Rocks, where we're talking about Jackaden, Shugo the Lucky One, Gerbo, and Kalesar.
Yeah.
And in the back, and then behind them, shooting at them, Disaster Courier Services, which is Shacknu here. And then what was it? It was Luigi. And who else did you have on your team? Was Steve there? Mad Cat and Steve?
Yep.
Yeah, Steve CC's our gunner, and Louis and Mad Cat are in the support ship.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear. Can they hear the audio from the
They
video?
can't.
Jackaden?
No, I just so I don't
Okay.
cluster up all the audio. No, I muted the audio. I can
Yeah.
unmute it if you want, but
No, you're good. So what? I want to know because I obviously I wasn't racing. Like how much did they catch? Did they catch the whole fight, or were you guys already shooting at each other at like long before they came up on stream?
I think they caught
off this shot by the way.
like 80 or 90% of the fight.
Oh, the shot's incredible.
Yeah, to be honest, I think if I remember correctly in this
There
And
it
you'll
is.
see right here.
Yeah, there it
There
is.
goes
Yep.
the wheel.
Explosion.
Oh, I was watching this and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I'm screaming
so
at my teammate,
so you don't really see it on the
"No!"
stream, but from my perspective, like all their wheels came off and there was just wheels flying everywhere. And I think one of the wheels hit my windshield as I was driving by them.
Oh man, and there they
It
go,
was-
and they get past.
Yeah, I think
and
both.
that-
I believe even Shugo was aiming for your wheel, so it was just like who manages to blow off the wheels first.
Yeah, who gets man? That was so good. And so okay, it's gonna we could even restart this and look at it again and talk about it. But I want to ask you, Jackaden. It's gonna
Mhm.
cut there in a second to you guys resetting.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm watching the stream. And I'm watching you guys trying to reset, and I'm screaming at my monitor like, "Hurry up! Hurry up! What are you guys
the
doing?
links
What
did not
happened?"
want to turn on. We had to.
Oh.
We were swapping Kelsar and Shugo and Gerbo. We were constantly swapping driver seats until it eventually turned on, and we were able to go. It just did not want to turn on.
Oh man, so
Weird.
there's a chance that it just didn't. It never turns on.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my.
I mean, we still
God.
had the nurse on the back, which was already on. Like the engines were ready, but ideally we used this. So
Yeah.
from my POV, all
Oh
the
man.
wheels fell off. Yeah, but
Yeah.
from
Kelsar in chat just mentions who was the driver. They looked so on stream. It looks like only 2 wheels go.
yeah, on
both you
stream
guys
it
are
looked like
saying
only
that-
2 wheels.
Yeah, both you guys are saying that the whole all the wheels seemed like it went off. But yeah, this was so intense. Yeah, like I say, right here. Like I'm sitting here
We're
like
just
screaming
swapping
at my
drivers
monitor.
until it works.
I'm like, what are you doing? What is happening? Like I know Jackaden, I know Gerbo, I know all 4 of the, like I know that they are fast at doing these things. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, so I didn't see any of this. I was focused on just driving, and I just hear Mad Cat and Louis laughing, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, there's someone naked running outside. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
Shugo
What are you
didn't
talking
bother
about? They're
to
like,
put the
don't worry
undersuit.
about it. Just keep driving.
Just keep driving.
Yeah, as soon as Shugo respawned, he just beeline to the links because Gerbo was on top of things. The second it blew up, I landed in front of him, and Gerbo was already pulling the links out. So that was a super quick deployment of the links. But unfortunately,
I'm watching it. It cuts back to DCS, and you're just ripping. And I'm like, hurry up! What are you guys doing? Please.
Yeah, it was a very tense moment for us at that time because obviously
I think this right here, I'll give you some of my perspective, was the beginning of our demise, cause by after the Betty, I lost the Kudre marker completely, so I had to
Oh,
just, and I've done this route enough times where I kind of know the terrain, but I started veering way off from what I'm used to. So I'm looking at the horizon and I'm just like, guys, something looks off. Something looks really off.
yeah.
And Steve had Kelsar's marker, so he knew like every 5 kilometers, Kelsar is looking like they were more and more to our left. And I'm like, I think we're veering to the right too much.
Yeah.
And you don't see it in the stream either, but when I switched to first person, the inside, like they did damage to us. The inside of our hull was, I mean, it was red lights, it was smoking, and I'm like, we got to make a decision if we want to just try to stay ahead and stay in this damage vehicle. The griefer might show up again, so that'll put us at risk. Do we want to do a vehicle swap? So we decided to do the vehicle swap, and they uploaded on their app mode YouTube. I think it was like 7 hours and 29 minutes on the YouTube. They
Yeah.
showed a little clip of us doing the vehicle swap, and then the griefer shows up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was 3 of us running around outside. Um, we get me and Steve get into the new one. The griefer destroys that like a soft death, and we're like, oh crap. So we run outside. I think he tried to shoot me, but Louis took one for me. Thanks Louis for doing that. He saved me. He was on foot, he saved me. And we get back in the old vehicle, we keep driving. I think by then security shows up and shoos him off or kills him. So we're still in this old, like, beat up vehicle. And by this point, Kelsar and Shugo went from being like 3 kilometers behind us to like 4 or 5 kilometers in front of us. So we're like, oh crap, we got to make up some ground. But they kept pulling ahead, and I'm like, guys, I think I'm lost. I don't have a marker at all. I don't
Oh
know where I'm
no.
going. Um, so yeah, we ended up making some ground through the cluster of rocks ahead of
Yeah.
us. But then we tried to do a second vehicle swap at Kudre, or near Kudre, and then the griefer
The
shows up
griefer showed
again.
up again.
So
Yeah.
Any,
yeah,
any
that wasn't
timestamps for
captured on
that
the
one?
stream.
That was a very
Oh,
scary
was it? It
moment. I
wasn't.
really wish that I actually recorded that because at some point I believe Mad Cat was getting targeted by missiles and he just
Oh.
sprinted away from you in our direction, popping flares everywhere and dropping noise. And I look behind him and I'm just seeing the screen flashing all different kind of lights and this gigantic C2 just hurling towards me.
Oh man. So I speaking of like the grief for hitting, so I talked to Gerbo a bit about this after the race, and he was mentioning that he, like they you Ramp Rocks intentionally chose the MSR even though it was going to have less like support vehicle and you couldn't have as much in it over the C2 because of the reduced signature. Do you guys think, Shacknu, that that had an impact? Because he felt pretty confident that because of their choice with the MSR was a big reason they never got targeted by the griefer when they managed to show up. That they basically you guys pulled the aggro away from them.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure what the signature is on the camera ship or security. But I know for a fact that it would have been harder for us to be spotted if we were completely by ourselves. But I mean, we
Yeah,
can't ask for the camera ship to fly away because that takes away from the stream, the show that they want to put on. So, um, but I don't know the numbers off the top of my head for what, EMI or thermal those ships emit. But I do have reason to believe that it played a role into us being spotted from a distance, further. As far as the C2, I I'm just kind of spitballing here, but I would imagine that he was stalking the C2, waiting for a vehicle swap, and then the moment we do it is when he comes in. That's what I think happened, because it happened to us twice.
To
yeah,
be honest,
So
if I can jump in on this, I was eyeballing all over the place in hopes of finding him, because the very first time we made contact with that arrow was like halfway through Eager Flat, so it was very very early into the race, and yeah, me and Gerbo were just keeping an eye out, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was the very first time that we engaged combat as well, because on the way to Uyghur Flats, if you remember, it was very, very close between Ramprock's DCS and Test Squadron. But I
Yeah, they're
believe
close
that,
behind
that
you guys
you and
too.
Kelsar were very close at one point where you actually started a proper firefight. And I don't know what happened at that time, but I think a griefer showed up during that fight and forced us away, because he started bashing on our support ship, so we just flew away at that point. Um, but yeah, I believe the very first time he showed up there, security found him, took him out. He showed up again in Eager Flats like twice, and I believe he took out someone's support ship while he was there as well. So this guy kept coming over and over and over again, and security just stayed on him the whole time. But I do think that it did have an impact in terms of, the C2 being so much bigger than the MSR, because during that time where you were getting targeted out after Betty, he was flying past us, to be completely honest. Like, I was seeing his signature come in and then just come out and just whoosh by us, like, now I don't think the MSR signature is that low, but I think we were
Yeah,
just under his radar, if anything. So or maybe
yeah,
by the time
definitely.
that we showed up, the C2 might have already been in his sight. So at that point, he wouldn't have deviated. I don't know. They killed the
Yeah.
cameraman and then they moved on to attack our supports as Herbie. Yeah, so yeah, but actually Herbie was on a different server, so yeah,
Oh,
there
was really?
there
I
were
heard he was on the other
griefers
server.
on
Eh?
the other servers too. And
Yeah,
yeah,
someone. I mean, I don't know if they were server jumping because I don't think they were private, or if most likely they put a team in teams in that they can jump into. I mean, you can't really
I think
stop it.
at one
Like we saw it,
point,
like 50 rookie teams, right?
yeah.
I think at one point the cameraman even took themselves out to protect us.
Oh yeah, that's nice. There you go.
Yeah.
I think it was 7 that was on you guys. So like about
Yeah, I
7.
think Louis and
Yeah.
Madcap plan to buy him a beer on the next Citizen Con for doing that.
Nice.
If they,
I
they
do
see
want to
him
shout
there.
out a team that I think they got a lot of love in the chat from their support from the rest of their org, and they were on the screen a bit, but they did pretty. It was Premier Corps Colonial, which is one of the French teams, 1CC. They anyways, they were popping up at the end. I just wanted to give them a shout out. I was thinking about that because they I don't know if they're rookies, but they were doing well. They were keeping up with Herbie for most of it.
Nice.
Yeah, they have massive
I
support
do.
in the chat.
Yeah, they got a lot of support in the chat. I do want to ask too. So Shacknu, we talked a bit about this before the pod, but were you guys ever trying to just follow ramp rocks? Like, were you guys using the ramp rocks support ship for guidance near the end? Because at one point there, yeah, ramp rocks gets back ahead, and you're saying you were getting lost. How were you using them, or were you managed to find your way again?
Yeah, I saw, so I did not see Kelsar or Shugo's markers, and I did not see Jacketin's marker, but I did see Gerbo's marker.
Yeah,
And yeah, towards the end of the race, when Ramprox was far ahead of us, I think they were like 7 or 8 kilometers ahead of us. I saw Gerbo's marker like way to my left, and I'm like, I know, and at this point I know I'm lost, and I'm like, I think we're way off course to our right. So at one point I did start like beelining towards Gerbo's marker to get back on track.
yeah,
And once the terrain started looking familiar, I'm like, okay, I think we're back.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What else do we have? Yeah, I mean, what else is to talk about? I'm curious about both teams' strategy and how you guys prepared because I wasn't heavily involved in either setup. I did see Shacknu online. I saw you online a lot leading up to the race. Were you doing full runs of the whole track, or what were you doing, Shacknu?
Oh yeah, yeah. Full
Yeah.
runs. Yeah, you Just memorize, you do them enough times and you'll memorize the whole course.
Yeah,
That's
just want to
awesome.
caveat here. I think Shacknu hasn't been online for quite some time, but on the prep to Daymar, any time that you log into Star Citizen, you just see Shacknu in PU. This guy, day in day out on Daymar.
Yeah. So it does help that this is my third year. The first year when I represented XGR and we were a rookie team, I wanted to win. That was our goal. So I put in I probably put in 10 weeks of just constant grinding, just learning the terrain was really the most of the practice. But by the second year, I only put in 3 weeks of practice. And then this year I put in 2 weeks of practice. I was gonna only do 1 week, but I don't know. I had a gut feeling that I needed to log in 2 weeks earlier, and I'm grateful that I did because that 2 weeks out, I was able to get in, no issues, and then a week out, it was just constant server errors, just every day.
Been rough this season.
And everybody was experiencing it, so I'm like, I'm so glad I logged in two
Yeah.
weeks before the race. Um, but. But yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes into prepping, from familiarization with the course itself. I'd say that's the biggest one. Familiarization with the vehicles, knowing who's on your team and divvying out who's doing what, right? There's a role for everything. Just having a backup plan for everything, thinking about how could we lose this, what can go wrong, and trying to come up with a plan and a backup plan and then a backup to the backup plan. So just having contingencies helps a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
The
I mean, that's a lot
logistic.
of
Oops, sorry.
yeah.
a lot of
I know. I was just
logistics.
gonna
Yeah.
say the logistics, which is honest, it's something that you taught us a lot in the racing classes, and I think that's one of the big reasons that Sanguis Luna is so successful. Is like, yeah, have backup plan for the backup plan kind of thing, and yeah,
Yep.
I find especially in racing in SC, time in almost always results in positive results, right? Like if you, the more time that you put in practicing and preparing for an event, the better you do every time. And any time that I've had a result I was unhappy with, it was almost always because something happened that I didn't prepare for, or I wasn't properly prepared for, right? Like, yeah, it's you got to make sure you're practicing a lot. What about so Jack, and what about you guys? What was your prep like? I know your sport ship, so it's a little different than the drivers, but
Yeah, I mean, since it was my first Daymar, I was not as familiar. I mean, I say as I was barely familiar with the track at all. I mean, I knew the checkpoints that we needed to make, and I knew, I guess, relatively the direction that we needed to go ish. But when I was jumping in calls with Kalsar and Shugo and Gerbo, and they were just trying to tell me, this is on the way to Eager. These are kind of the landmarks that we have to keep an eye out. You see them in the distance. You need to go a bit right here or a bit left here, and it's just when you see, and even as Shacknu's been saying, from 3 years ago to now, the fact that you're able to spend so much time on the ground that you will actually be able to memorize the land, because Daymar doesn't have landmarks, right? So you have to memorize the hills, right? And this rock looks funny, so I'm gonna use that as my marker here. And it just there's so much like memorization to the tracks. Like at one point, excuse me, um we were flying without markers. So we were just flying ahead, finding a landmark that everybody's aware of, and then using that as our bearing. And then flying back, and we were just doing this back and forth, just finding a bearing from a landmark that either Gerbo or Krelsar know. And but for the majority of the time, if I speak to Krelsar, he's like, yeah, I know the section. I know that there's gonna be that soon up ahead. And Gerbo was doing the same thing. And at one point, when at the very end, we swapped out again. So basically, Gerbo started the first bit of the race. Then we swapped out, and I did the whole middle section, and then Gerbo swapped back out when we were about 30k out from Kudra. And he did that without markers because I was the one who actually had the markers for Kudra. That's why I was doing that stretch. But at that last section, he knew where to go completely. He knew every millimeter of land. So, in terms of prep for the actual track, I mean, these guys, they have so much experience, and I'm very grateful that I got to spend so much time practicing with them because if we keep doing this year after year, it definitely shows when you put in all that time. But yeah, and
Yep.
also
The person I can think of that knows the terrain so well is Jed Heller, because he spends a lot of his own time just being out there, just putting in the time on the ground, memorizing the horizon every
Yep.
10 kilometers. So if you want to do well in Daymar Rally, you gotta put in the time, and it's a lot.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of time. I mean,
It's
it's
a lot. It's a
5
lot of
hours
ground
to
to
get there
cover.
if you know where to go.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. I
practice all
bet
that.
you. I bet you Herbie also is probably
Oh
putting a
yeah,
ton
no,
of hours
Herbie.
to
I
Oh
mean,
get
I
yeah.
there.
believe
Oh,
Herbie was actually
100%.
running the majority of the time without a support, right? Because I believe he
Yeah,
said
you
that their
said no
support,
markers,
yeah,
no support, no
no
markers for
support, no
so much of
markers.
that
So the fact that
race.
he got there, and I believe, yeah, Herbie came first in the buggy division, right?
Did he
So
win
like,
it? I think he won it
I
at the end. Yeah, because
yeah,
I didn't see the end of it, but it was. I remember looking. Well, unofficial result, Herbie wins.
yeah,
We have
unofficial
to
result,
wait. We have to
tentatively, yeah,
caveat all of these
yeah,
results
yeah,
because
tentatively.
I DM'd Crucian about some stuff before the pod, and he was like very clear. We don't have any official results. No
Yeah, he said
one, no one
yesterday
has
during
won
the
yet.
stream, no one from Atmo's working on Sunday, so don't ask.
Yeah,
Do it on
yeah.
Monday.
You have to wait. You have to
They
wait.
need a rest.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Yeah,
a lot.
exactly.
understandably so.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, there's some other. Daymar was pretty crazy. Did you have because I wanted to talk about who won or tentatively won the other events too? Because I think Test, did they come third tentatively, or who came third for the bike or for the truck
So
division?
I have the last shot of the. I have the very last shot from the. Where's the thing? Yeah, this is the very last shot from the Daymar Rally. So
Yeah.
you can see the for the bike division there was.
Test way fell off. Oh no,
Yeah,
they were
because
right behind like the whole way, man.
yeah, I believe they
Oh,
lost their support ship. They,
that's
I think the
tough.
Griefer hit their support ship. I don't have confirmation for this, but I believe the Griefer managed to hit their support ship, so they were doing the run to Betty, or I believe from Betty, without a support ship. So I'm not sure if maybe
Yeah.
they got lost or something, but yeah, it was very very unfortunate because if you were paying attention at the during the race with all the when we put in the range, it was Ramprox, DCS, and Test Squadron were so close. Like I think all
Yeah.
three of us got to eager flats at exactly the same time. So then it was just whoever launched first, and then we just one after the other.
Ye-
It was
Yeah,
very
because I
very
think we were
close.
talking about it before. It looked like Test Squadron was following DCS, right? Just to
Yeah,
try to find the end. Yeah.
that's what it looked like
Yeah.
from our perspective because we didn't have party markers for Shacknu. Actually, I don't think we had party markers for any of the trucks. So we were just looking at the lights from a distance because the Lynx lights are just so bright you can see them from anywhere. So
Yeah.
I was just
Did
looking in the horizon looking for lights, and okay, that one's probably Shacknu. So the guys behind them are probably Test Squadron. So
yeah. Oh man, crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kuroda
we were
did
neck and
well.
neck with Test Squadron for a while there.
mhm.
In the beginning of the Shubin Eager sprint. I kind of see that as like the first turn of every race. There's a lot of similarities between ship racing and Daymar in that sense, right? If you can survive the first turn, right, you'll probably do well. Or if you can survive getting to Eager in one piece, you'll probably do well.
Yeah.
So there's a
Is
lot
it
of
only
strategy with that, right? Do you want to start in the front? Do you want to start in the back and work your way up? Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot
speaking
of
of
similar
survival,
stuff.
is it only 5 teams in the buggy division that made it?
It seems
Is that what
so.
that says?
Because
Oh man.
after P3 crosses the line, I think there's a 1 hour cutoff time, and I
Yeah.
think they just didn't make it, or I mean,
Sixth
now that I'm
place didn't even make it
seeing sixth
100K.
place,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
Wow. That's tough. I mean, it's kind of cool when you look at these results and you look at like the team names because like they're all very recognizable in racing.
Mm-hmm.
Torbor obviously did great. Kuroda's there doing great.
Yeah, Sire Racing too. His
Yeah,
NeoJets team right
Sire
there.
did good. Amarok's Fang, who are a really good ground racing team. They don't do any ship racing, but they're always near the top of
Yet.
ground racing. Who's on Street Risen? What team is that? I don't even
I
know who
don't
remembers that team.
remember. I really don't remember. I was trying before the podcast. I was trying to find the roster, so each team and their members. I forgot where that was, to be completely honest. So,
I
but yeah,
couldn't find it anywhere. I only got a list of teams. I asked Recruition about it for the
Yeah,
members of each team. I
I'm
don't think
on
they
the
have it.
Daymar website. I see a list of the teams, but it doesn't show the each individual for every team.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the final results. But Amrox, that what a mesh is Amrox Fang in second place
Mhm.
unofficially for bikes. So that's well done for them too.
Yeah.
And I think is it the Kuroda Nord who that's like I think that's like a group thing, isn't it? Wasn't Kuroda talking to people about trying to make a bunch of teams?
Yeah, I think
Or they're the ones that
Kuroda is
wanted to try
the
to sweep.
partnership that they were having with a bunch of different teams. I last I
Yeah.
spoke to Sanji about it at SitCon, actually, during the Interatmosphere event. He approached me that he was gonna do the whole Kuroda thing, and he mentioned that he just wants to do like an all-star team in each division and
Yeah.
just have them represent Kuroda. I think it's a really good initiative, and it's it's nice that for the people who actually accepted, he gave them a challenge coin. So he made them a challenge coin with I believe the Kuroda symbol on one side and the Daymar Rally symbol on the other. So I think that was a
That's
fantastic
awesome.
initiative just to inspire, those partnerships and collaboration. So kudos for that.
I love challenge coins. I have one because I'm in
Same,
a
dude, same. I
I'm
want more.
I'm I'm in a union and it's not. I mean, they don't always do it, but they like the union has challenge coins and stuff, and I love collecting them. I don't know. I just I like that that's a thing in Star Citizen. I want that to be more common.
Yeah.
Be right back. Be right back real quick, guys.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries, no
you know
worries,
where's
dude.
man. Did you have you said you might have had a clip from the buggy division, right?
Yeah, I have a
Of
clip of a really cool moment that because I was watching the VOD back and I saw this really cool moment. To be completely honest, I don't know which teams these are, but as I was watching the VOD, I saw this moment of two buggies just really close
yeah.
to each other. This guy comes off the crest of the hill, finds that, and immediately opens fire. And that was, how long are these guys gonna keep fighting? And they just go on forever. So
Oh, that's
yeah, we can let
awesome.
this clip run, but it's really cool to
I,
see, with the people managing to stay within range of each other and actually, participating in the combat element of Daymar. Because I think one of the difficult things to, like, not to manage, but especially from a broadcast perspective, being with the race being so long, like 510 kilometers with the speeds that these things go, is a long
yeah.
time. So when you have such different levels of skill, the start is very tense, but as the race goes along, you will start seeing, the distances from one team to another just get longer and longer. But having these moments is the same that our moment with DCS. That when you get within firing range and you just have that firefight, it just turns it into so
No, there's another buggy or a
much more
truck
of an
there in the
exciting
background
thing.
too.
Oh
There's
yeah,
three of them right next to each other. Yeah, this is the these bigger lobbies, dude. I cannot wait. There's gonna be a universe, and I don't think it's that far away, where it's gonna be one lobby, and it's gonna be one server,
Oh man,
one day,
I
and
can't
it's gonna
wait.
be
yeah.
That's gonna
incredible.
be awesome.
Yeah,
My
because this just looks
from
so awesome.
half of the Shubina Eager, I was at 7 FPS.
Oh, look at him
So
go! He's shooting at that.
I'm
Get him!
hoping
Get
that if
him!
we're all in one, my PC will be able to handle it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully
right. Oh.
we'll get some optimization. So
At that point, yeah, you hope by that point you have good optimization. Yeah, there was I don't think we grabbed a clip of it, but we were speaking because we were talking a bit about Kuroda. Sanji had an unfortunate mishap like at the very beginning, and it was like it was so funny. It's like on stream he got caster cursed because it's on stream, and Crucian was like, oh, there's Sanji. He's like, ooh, this does. He's like, I don't know about this landing. And he's like, Sanji's usually he's either really fast and right at the front, or he crashes early and loses everything. And like as he says it, Sanji came down hard onto the ground, boom, and blew up. And I was like,
The
oh,
commentator's curse
poor
always has to
guy.
claim someone.
Dude,
Yeah,
it always does.
I was getting the commentator's curse from my co-driver. Every time he said, "Good job, Shacknu," I would spin out or hit a rock.
Into a rock, yeah.
And I'm like, Steve, I need you to stop saying good job.
Just say you're doing horrible. You're awful.
Mad Cat's like, all right, you're doing horrible. And then I just started like doing really well all of a sudden. So
it's true though. Like I actually need that. Because I like we're preparing for the I don't know if you've heard about the Crux 24 hours. Oh no, you have, Shacknu. That's right. We've talked about this. And we're preparing for it. And I learned recently that we're probably going to have a version of a like a engineering panel where you can see lap times and stuff like that as the race is going on and lap counts, like live updating for you rather than having to watch the stream. And I think it's going to be great because like I'm not like when you're in a lap and you finish a lap, you want to hear like, no, that was a slow one. Like you have to speed up on the next lap. Like you were a second or two slower than your normal laps are, which that'll like it'll make a difference. Anyways, I agree. I don't want someone telling me you're doing great. I want someone telling me you suck and you need to hurry up or you're gonna lose this race.
Yeah, I need motivation, man. I don't need someone to calm me down. That'll just make it worse for me.
You're saying that you were spinning out with commentators, Curse, but I kept the stream open on another monitor, and every time that I see you spin, you always landed on your feet. Like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah, I guess I was just lucky on the streamer side because I think I was an upside down turtle like a dozen times throughout that race.
Because I guess the stream just caught you at the right moments. Because every time I see you hit a rock and like, oh, he's spinning, and he's on his feet, facing the right direction. Never mind.
I want to see. Are you on the VOD itself there, Jacketing?
I am.
Skip through it.
Yeah, I am.
I want to see near the end because punch buggies were behind. So I'm kind of curious when they managed to make that switch into first place. Because I remember watching it and I see, look, they dropped way behind around this point. I thought it might have been over.
Yeah,
I remember watching this at like
this 5 point. It's where he was having where Herbie was having issues. I'm not entirely sure what happened here because I believe they Punch Buggies also they were two drivers, right? They were Herbie and Diplo.
Yeah, I think Diplo was driving there too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if maybe this happened during a driver swap or something, because if you can see the distances between them and then Premier Corp, it's not that big. So maybe that's when that happened. Because I believe during the beginning of the race, like Herbie was way ahead in the start.
Yeah, he started
massively.
Yeah.
But Herbie is the king of ground racing, so there's
like if you cut over near the end of it.
Here, there we go. Punch Buggies overtaking Premier Corp here.
Even here, I thought here because I remember catching it. This is about when I got back on, and I was like, "Oh, it's over." Yeah, like we're talking like almost 20-kilometer gap. So where do they make? Let's go almost to the very end. I want to see like the last like 10K and see who's. Because I was driving the opposite direction for some time after the support ship went down. That's what Herbie just said in chat.
Yeah.
Oh no. That explains it then. That does explain it. Crazy comeback, man. That's just so impressive.
Yeah. Now Herbie's performance was phenomenal, especially with the support ship down. I mean, to be able to, reorient yourself, no markers, no support ship, and just come out with the win after that. It's absolutely insane.
Very well
That's
done.
Impressive.
Okay, I think because we're at 50 minutes, so we want to talk to Shacknu a little bit about himself more than just Daymar.
Yeah. I must say though, if I can ask, I have a very very we got very curious. Did you at any point, Shacknu, suffer from food or water issues? Because we had to stop for Kelsar to replenish. I'm not sure if you noticed, but at the Betty, as soon as we crossed through the legs, we stopped and we had to heal ourselves back up. Did you have any of those issues at all?
We talking real life or in game?
No. in the game. Like Kelsar was like dehydrating in the game.
Yeah, well, I was dehydrated in the game and in real life. So,
I mean,
yeah,
that's fair, I guess.
before the Betty, I think I was at like 50% hydration. And,
Okay.
yeah, we did it. So yeah, we did a driver swap,
Sorry.
and I went downstairs and I cooked up my I prepped a meal like chicken fried rice a day prior. I made like 7 batches of it. And so I just threw that in the microwave for like a minute and a half, drank some water, went to the bathroom, came back, and then that's when I started taking swigs of cruise in game. And that topped me off. But yeah, I was at like 50% hydration, like 68, 70%
Okay.
hunger in game.
So you did at some point have to stop to replenish then. It wasn't just
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, for sure.
All right, because I don't think at any point that maybe again most of our reference was the stream. We didn't have markers for you guys, so we never saw you stopped on the stream. Whereas they actually showed us when we got to the Betty and stopped. They kind of just looked at us and I think what is happening here? Why are these guys
Yeah,
stopped?
why are they stopping? Yeah.
Yeah, that might
Yeah.
have been server desync because we saw from our end, we saw you guys stop under the Betty. But we immediately knew like, no, that's desync. I think they're still going. There are even a lot of moments in the race where my co-driver Steve, he was like, "Why'd you stop, Shaq?" I'm like, "I didn't. I'm still driving."
Oh
And
yeah,
then
Still
we
he
did
going.
just
have some of
and
those
then
as
he
well. Yeah.
just and then Steve just rubber bands forward
Mm-hmm.
like a kilometer,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
it
had
was
that rubber
very,
banding issue as well. Yeah. But I
yeah,
think the
yeah,
server
it's
hiccuped at
interesting.
the same time because Shugo was saying the same thing, was saying that to Kelsar as Gerber was saying that to me, or vice versa. Where the driver is still going, but the passenger stops, and then you just
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does a little like jump.
yeah, that happened more in the beginning for us at least. And then performance was really good. Maybe like 30 minutes after Eager, but then around the Betty, after the Betty, I was probably averaging like 25 FPS for the race, and then it just
something.
dropped to like 7 at one point after the Betty,
All those
and then it
lights.
would jump, and then it would jump up to like 15, and then it would go down to like 7, and then up to 15. So I don't know what was
Oof.
going on there. That was before
Well,
the engagement we had.
well, I'm glad it all survived, man. It's crazy. Anything could have gone wrong. The servers could have gone kaput, but it worked out. It was great. Yeah. Anyways, I figured we should let's end the podcast off with questions for Shacknu.
Yep.
I've always been curious, Shaq. I know that you never when you got into Star Citizen, and I'm pretty sure you said that you were just immediately racing. Like that was like so. How did you get into it? What got you started in racing? Like how did you even find out about Star Citizen?
Yeah, well, the thing I liked the most was the combat and just the flight model back then. So yeah, I'll just hoon around planets and moons on my own. And at one point, a thought came to me, and I was like, I want to make like a racetrack. We should do racing.
Yeah,
And an hour into it, I was like, somebody's there. I'm sure somebody has done this already. And I just it was either Star Citizen Racing or Racing and Star Citizen. But
yeah,
scr.gg was like the third, link in the front page of Google. And I clicked that, and I saw the website. I saw all these tracks, XGR Club Track, which I think is called Skyscraper now, but to
Mm-hmm.
me it's still XGR Club
it's
Track.
still the club track. So
Um, that caught my eye. And I looked at the leaderboard. I looked at all
yeah,
these, the time trials, and I'm like, wow, these guys know how to fly.
yeah.
I want to be like, my instant thought was, I want to be on the top of this leaderboard. I
I
don't
want
know
to be
what
like
this
Splen.
is, but
I want to beat
yeah,
Splen. Yeah,
yeah, Splen and all those guys. I saw the Discord that I joined next year. I got plugged in. I saw in the events tab in their Discord the Stanton Cup, right? In like 3 weeks out. And I'm like, ooh, what's this? So I started talking to people, I started getting excited. I'm like, okay, I'm doing the Stanton Cup. I don't know what this is, but this sounds really cool, right? I think XGR was like 10 months in at this point. And I remember practicing for that in coupled mode for like
Oh, really?
2 weeks straight. And I'm like, how are these guys so fast? And I'm studying like their VODs, their time trials. And I noticed that they were all in decoupled. Like 2 weeks into, I'm 1 week out from the race, and I just noticed they're all in decoupled. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I swapped that off, and I'm like, whoa, this feels like I'm drifting around. I'm sliding this. I'm like, this feels way different. What the heck is
Yeah,
this?
this feels
But I'm
great. I
like,
love that.
well, everybody's doing it, so I might as well just get used to this. I didn't know why everyone was flying in decoupled, but I'm like, well, it's working for them. I'm gonna make it
Yeah.
work for me. So I spent a week just trying to get used to flying in decoupled. Um, Back then there were no starting grids. I think 50 people showed up to that race. The
Hmm.
moment everybody left the starting grid, like half the racers crashed, and then the first turn in that race is like the most dangerous in like all the tracks we have. So,
The great
uh,
filter, as it's called.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, do
Steve
you have
C
that
or
clip, Jackie?
Surf
Yeah,
one
here we
stuff.
go.
Diplomat ended up
Look at all
winning
those
this.
explosions.
Yeah, Diplomat ended up winning this race. So it was 3 races. It was 10 heats and 3 main races, and you accumulate points for the main races. And Diplomat got like seventh place, and sixth place or something like that. But he was able to accumulate enough points to get first place
Yeah,
for this race, and I'm like, wow. So basically, survive. Just don't
yeah.
crash.
Man, the names in this is crazy. There's Totorak. There's
Yeah.
I don't know. Kyle the Kid was doing it back then. That's cool, man. It's a lot of.
It's been a while since we've seen
Oh,
such a full stack of racers on a small track like this. And the last time we had, I guess, the stack like this was the division race. But yeah.
yeah, it's been a while. I'd like to see that again. A big stack like that.
So
And I
Shaq,
think
one
this
thing,
was 315 or 316. Like you couldn't fly next to someone.
yeah, instant
It
desync.
was wild. Yeah.
So one thing I've always been curious, right? Because when you look at the I guess the OG XGR races, you see all these really these really popular, I guess you could say, within the Star Citizen racing community. I would say popular names like yourself and Splen and Black Maze and Osasha's. How do you? I don't know if you've been following the racing community grow and if you've been following the races, but do you feel like I guess the peak level has changed? Because when I look at it myself, when I look at videos to try and learn, okay, what is this guy doing, right? So like when I started, Splen was the big name of racing, so I just looked at every single video that Splen's ever made about racing, and I just want to see what does this guy do. I want to do like it.
Mm.
One thing that I noticed is that the development of techniques like TVI alignment and the proper boost management and stuff like that, it wasn't as prominent in the early days as it is now, right? So like in these days, if you're not doing TVI alignment, you're practically just you know
You're throwing.
you're not gonna be competitive. You're
Yeah.
throwing, yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
in even for example, if I bring up this clip again, now obviously there is an element of safety to it, but it doesn't seem like
It's that,
TVI
yeah, not
alignment was
even
like,
worrying about it.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't really matter at the TVI. The line doesn't matter as long as I make it through. So
Yeah. Back then, yeah, it was just, I don't know what I'm doing, but I just need to survive this because this is just chaos. Right? There's a lot of techniques that is common knowledge now that were wasn't really common knowledge back then, right? Like we were still didn't know if coupled or decoupled was better, right? We'd have debates in the Discord like which one, right? Oh, maybe if we fly a certain way in coupled, right? Because you accelerate faster in coupled back then, so like
Yeah.
maybe if you fly super robotic, right? Maybe couples better, right? Or maybe in the turns, right? Using the computer assisted model. So, I mean, we'd get into stuff like that for just, couple versus decoupled, right? And I'm not even mentioning all the other stuff, right? But I feel like there's a lot of figuring out back then, a lot of groundwork and foundation build up. So I do think that the level is a lot higher nowadays because, a lot of that groundwork's already made, right? You watch the videos, you go to the classes, or you watch these instructional videos, and it's just being spoon-fed all the basics, right? All the fundamentals, and then from there that just puts you at a really high bar. So I think the level of racing is a lot higher now compared to it was back then.
I honestly, I think there's a lot due to you, Shacknu. Like, I know you might not want to take credit for it, but your classes and stuff, and like things like TVI alignment, where like figuring those things out, make it that sort of common knowledge. Because now like I've been passing that along. It'd be another thing that I don't think gets talked a lot about in classes because it's maybe you can call it like upper level or higher, like a higher level of racing, because it's not something you worry about when you're trying to teach someone. But when you're trying to get someone to get that really good time trial, you start to, is like things like how to take your lines, proper apexes, when to boost in a turn, when to bicord now is even a thing. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, but bicording is a question of like when you should do it or when you shouldn't. We're trying to figure it out in this current flight model because
Yeah,
it's
we're
kind of
labbing it
changed.
out
Mm.
So
still.
yeah,
Yeah, Black
we're trying to
Maze in
figure
the
out
chat
whether
saying like
it's
peak level was Shacknu teaching me that faster is more downforce, and that is more
yeah, that
prominent
too.
now than I think than I've ever felt it to be in the time that I've been playing Star Citizen.
Wow.
But now it feels like if you're not going fast,
Yeah.
your ship does not have the aero grip to take some turns. So you really need to
Yeah,
push
the
the ship now.
the pitch up versus pitch down, I recall you really felt that, especially back then, probably more now at the Kaplan Stadium slalom.
Oh yeah,
For some reason my ship would push me down quicker when I would pitch down, and so, that's another topic that we would debate about, right? Which is better, the dolphin dive or the corkscrew? And we all agreed that even though the dolphin dive's a lot simpler to pull off, and a lot of the top guys were doing that purely for consistency, Osashis mastered the corkscrew and in the slalom, and he was flying through it. I mean, he was so good at that. And I tried to practice it, and I was crashing left and right. Right back then, we didn't have Arena Commander, so there's a lot of time in between crashes. But I think corkscrewing back then was theoretically faster
yeah.
through the slalom. So I am curious, with the current flight model, what are the more optimal techniques if you wanna get the fastest, time trials, and is it worth doing it in a race where surviving is crucial? So yeah, it's a lot to consider.
Yeah, you've pulled up the
Yeah, because you
Black
were
Maze mentioned it in
mentioning
chat. Yeah,
the slalom versus the
remember?
corkscrew, and I remember because I highlighted this exact same thing in one of my videos, and I just remember this exact scene. It's ingrained in my head. Sasha's doing a perfect corkscrew while everyone else is dolphin diving, and you
Yeah,
could see it's so balanced. It's like
He
whatever
makes it
you're
look so
yeah,
easy. Like
yeah, it's just
I could
absurd.
never.
just
And yeah,
phenomenal racing.
he takes over one or two people there. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah, and that was such a good race. Billboy and Lagos and Osasha's battling it out there.
Yeah,
That was a
XGR has
great one.
built some incredible moments in this community. It's amazing to look at.
Yeah,
I
So
remember a
so
race where we raced Mustangs here, and yeah,
I
Splin and I had a
remember that.
moment.
That one was a painful one to watch. Everyone, the Mustangs, just the arms, man, and it's a
yeah.
tight track. That one, a lot of
Yeah,
people, a lot of deaths happening. That's for sure.
yeah, no, but Splin motivated me a lot back when I started, because he was first or second in in every time trial in SCR, and that's what really got me into it, was time trialing in SCR.GG. It was
Yeah.
just so addicting to shave off a second or a millisecond and to push yourself. So spending a lot of time in SCR is what it was the kickstart for me to get into racing. But I spent so much time trialing that come the race, I was so focused in myself that I didn't care about what other people were doing. So
Yeah.
I would just stay on my line, and if someone crash into me, like, I was so ingrained in my own lines. So and when I was approached to be an instructor, that kind of forced me to learn more myself. It actually made me a better racer about, having that situational awareness to see where the other racers are relative to you, and to prioritize surviving, right?
Yeah.
Don't be comfortable to go outside your normal optimal line. Um, one example of this is race 3 of the Stanton Cup. It was at New Babbage City Tour, and there is a slalom in the first turn there. And during the practice sessions, I noticed, I can't remember who it was, but somebody would always take that slalom really high, and I would always do the same thing. And in the practice sessions, I always crashed into them. So I'm like, okay, in the race, I'm just gonna fly low in the slalom, and I was able to survive the first the first turn because of that. So knowing who you're racing up against and making adjustments is crucial. Yeah, it was this one.
Oh yeah, you
Who
got
was? Oh,
the.
it's Canadian. I
Is
think
it
it was
Canadian
Canadian
Maverick?
Maverick. Yeah.
He is a 350R expert.
Yeah. So
Ray
Oh
a lot of
man, look
Pinson-Ig,
at all
yeah.
people,
those
a lot of people
people.
flew high.
Wow,
Shake and bake.
Um,
What
man.
what all the other names you gave it, Maze?
Yeah, breaking six, shaking big. Wow, Canadian Maverick, man. He killed it in that. He definitely knows how to fly a 350R.
Yeah,
oh
I think
yeah,
all the
yeah.
clips that I showed XGR here, Canadian Mavericks, always somewhere in the shot in the 350R.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 basically the
Straws.
strategy was to fly around him and not die, because the three back I don't know if it's still the case, but the 350R had incredibly high acceleration. So right off the starting line, right, if you were in the P72, you're immediately in the back. All the 350Rs were ahead of you, and you had to catch up because of P72 had I think slightly higher top speed.
Yeah,
So
Such a crazy concept nowadays that the 350R could actually be faster than the P72.
that it could have
Like
been
it's
competitive.
they are in
Yeah,
such a
yeah. The
different
data machine, no.
yeah,
such in a different league on its own right now.
Oh,
yeah,
that's you hate to see it.
So many names
Uh,
in this clip, man.
man, Rizzy, it's funny. He does really well in
Steve
online
was still
racing, and
racing.
he's always on the leaderboard. But I didn't realize that has really been in racing for a long time. And there's Kyle the kid too. Again, he's been doing
man,
it for a
shark
while.
bait.
Shark Bait,
Shark
yeah,
bait's in
he
there. I
needs to
think
come
he ended
back.
up getting like second or third place in
Oh,
the Stanton
Shark
Cup.
Bait.
Yep,
He
see,
did, yeah,
they're
he
both
did,
they're
yeah.
both taking it high. So yeah.
Dude, I'm still salty about the Stanton Cup because in I actually could have ended up Shacknu. I could have ended up, I think, with third, only doing one race because I was doing really well in that last
Talking the
Stanton Cup race
icebreaker
that was
one,
at
right?
no Beautiful Glen. No, Icebreaker was
Oh, okay.
division. So it was at Beautiful Glen. I was doing really well, and then in the last race, I crashed out early and like lost all the points. Man, I could
Mm.
have been doing. I could have had such a good only one race. Ended up in like the top 5 or something. It was.
Yeah,
That
with
was
with
hurts me
how with
thinking about
how
that.
devastating it is to crash early on in the race and to lose so much potential points. I
Yeah,
mean, that's another similarity to the Daymar Rally, right? At least in the earlier Daymar rallies, where if you crash once, you're pretty much done.
yeah, it was over.
It's kind of similar in this sense, right? As far as accumulating points. So, but yeah,
Do you
I
prefer
mean,
ground or ship racing? Do you got one that
oh,
you
I,
prefer
I'm
over
I'm
the
a
other?
I've always preferred ship.
Yeah,
That's right. I got my dual Verpals here. That
nice.
Oh yeah.
so Black Mace convinced me to get them. I was gonna get VKBs, but he's like,
No, you gotta get
I
the
know
Virtuals.
you, Shacknu. You want the best of the best. You're gonna want the VPC Constellation Alphas, and I'm like, all right. He's a good
Yeah.
salesman. He's a good salesman.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Hey,
man,
I mean,
when you
if
see
you if
his
you can, I
videos,
always say, if you can afford it, I then just go for the V or not the VKBs, just go for the Virtuals, right? Like the VKBs are great.
oh yes, they are.
And they're more than enough for most people. But it's like, but if you have the cash to the extra bit of cash you need to throw at a set of Virtuals, you just go with the Virtuals because they are the slightly better stick. Even though I have VKB and I love my VKBs.
yeah, same here.
Yeah, as far as spending money, I think the most I've ever spent in Star Citizen prior to racing was just $40, the
Yeah.
base pack. But a year into racing, I was $1,000 in.
You
Most
had to buy
and
pledge every racing ship.
most of it was in the Carrack because I wanted to be able to. Every time I died on the racing track, I wanted to spawn
Respawn,
in the
yeah.
Carrack. And it all started with the snake pit when me and Splen were battling out before they updated the snake pit to all of Nino's assets that he added
Yeah.
to what we know now. Back then there was none of that, so it was just the canyons. So that was gonna immortalize the original snake pit. So me and Splen were like, just we wanted to be the first on the very top of that original leaderboard. So yeah, so we were going back and forth, and having the Carrack helped a lot with but man, I think that was like a $600 ship alone. So
Now,
and then the rest are spent on racing ships, right? Razor,
Yeah, I was gonna
M50, and
say
all
I
that.
got every
Yeah.
racing ship pledged now too. Yeah. Oh, you still? I don't know about you, Shaq. Do you have a decent? Because I got a pretty decent library of things I've won,
yeah, well, I
like
was
pledge
gonna
ships.
say, like, what is okay? So you spend near 1,000 a year in, but how much did you get back? Because if anything, the racing
I've
community's rewards are just out of this world, man. There's so much support for
yeah.
prizes and pledges and skins, and I remember even, I mean, I don't remember personally, but when I was following the cops in the division, was that 2 years ago already? Yeah, it's 2 years ago. There was even physical prizes. There was this the mouse mats. There was so much support for prizes and rewards that surely at this point you racked up quite.
I've never actually kept track of everything I've won, to be completely honest. I'm sure I evened out. Um, I think when I won the first Daymar, and we were talking like who's gonna get the C2 because that was the number one prize for the truck division 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone was like, Shacknu, you're getting the C2. I don't care if you say no, you're getting that. And I think that's like $350 or $400
Yeah,
alone.
something
So
like that.
Yeah, C2
so
sounds super. Yeah.
that almost covered the Carrack right there. So yeah, I didn't keep track of everything, but I'm sure I hit a net positive at some point.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do a career earnings at some point. Like I keep track of results for the just for San Guisolino, like our team. Like basically any result that any of our guys have had, I put into a sheet. But I've been wanting to do a career earnings because I think some people's numbers would be pretty. I think Splen's. I
Yeah, I
think if
think
anyone's
Splen has the
Splen's numbers
highest.
would be ridiculous. I mean, he's been out of it for a
Mm.
minute, but he won a lot early on. So
Yeah, I'd
he-
say Splen is by far the most successful when it comes to performances in race events. He is by far the most consistent. Yeah, if you were to rack and stack every racer across the board in terms of earnings or placement, yeah, Splen's definitely number one
yeah,
for
Fresh
sure.
is Fresh is coming after him,
Oh
man. I'm
yeah,
telling you,
Fresh is going
his
hard at it.
he's
Yeah,
got a lot.
is he like the new Splen these
Yep,
days, or
pretty much.
He
I mean,
what's
yeah,
okay?
I remember when I
yeah.
very first started racing, the battle at the time was Splen versus Fresh at Yadar Valley. They were just constantly trading world records over and over and over again. That's around the time where I
Yeah.
started putting an interest in Star Citizen. So that's one of the
So
first things that I remember. So as Splen was slowly
yeah.
cutting away from Star Citizen due to his injury, Fresh was just like, okay, my turn.
So Fresh
That's
started
awesome.
racing like early 2023. I remember seeing his name
Crux
pop
always
up.
pays good, yeah.
But he didn't get serious about it until late 2023, and we picked him up to SL. Like I invited him around like October-ish in 2023, and that's when I started putting like, dude, I was like, go do some races, man. Like, you got to start competing. And so since then, I've tracked him. Fresh has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 first places since
In a year.
in a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and he got the NZ Racing ACREX star, and he has one third place at the XGR or anniversary year 3 anniversary exhibition, and he got a second place at his very first race was like the Black Star Underground Oil Rig, and he got second place. And he's
Wow.
he's
Definitely
the
Fresh is slowly being the next generation of Splen.
yeah.
I
That's
mean, if he's
awesome.
not already
Playing
there, he's
Fox.
very close to it.
Yeah, playing Fox and Shack was just saying that he's at around 1K earnings, and Crux Cup always. Yeah, I don't want to say that I'm like a prize chaser, but I mean, Crux. I can't say no to Crux because the prizes are incredible. Like, and
I
and
mean,
I know I'm
it's
good enough to
insanely
like get
good
a podium
motivation,
every
right?
time I go there. Oh yeah, yeah. It's
I mean,
like,
if
oh,
it
I'm gonna win
pushes you to actually
$100,
gain
basically.
something for the time and effort, then what other reward do you need, right? I mean, one of the things
Yeah,
that a lot of people talk about Star Citizen, like in a sort of negative light, is that what you're doing doesn't matter because there's no progression, there's nothing, doesn't feel rewarding. But in racing, it's the complete opposite side. All you need is the flight model to work and the servers are up, and if you place well, you're gonna get something. So
yeah.
And a
Fame and
lot of
fortune,
those
and
man.
prizes
fame,
come
yeah,
directly from
from
CIG.
CIG, yeah,
So
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of
It's pretty
support
cool.
there.
There is actually even still like yeah, CAG tends to do the marquee prizes. They tend to provide the big ones. But I still get really impressed overall by the community and like the amount of donation pledges that people get and stuff. Like easily, I mean Crux. I know all their first place prizes for the most part are given by CAG, but even if you combine the value of all the prizes below that, we're talking like close to $1,000 just being
Oh
pledged
yeah,
for Crux Cup, right? I mean, and I'm 24 hour. This 24-hour race is coming up. We've talked about it a few times on the podcast.
hmm
I can't. The prizes are going to be crazy.
oh, I'm sure, yeah. And
And it's going to
Ansia
be.
just
There's
starts
six of
getting
them
better
per
year after
team.
year. Oh yeah, sure.
man, if I'm wiped after 6 hours of racing plus three hours of setup for the Daymar, right? Boy, yeah, I might need to go to the gym or something for Crux Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yesterday.
definitely have a 6-man team for it. Don't try
Yeah,
to do
no,
a
I'm
little
not. I'm
less.
not gonna do it all by myself. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were joking about this on Discord because as I said, I was flying the entirety of the middle section, which was easily around 3 hours of it, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours of it, and my sticks are on my desk, so I don't have desk mounts yet, good reasons, but at the moment they're on my desk. So when I'm flying, like this is what my shoulders look like when I'm holding my sticks when I'm flying. So I was constantly with my shoulders engaged for like 3 hours straight. So like this is me idle, right? This is me when I'm racing. I was like this for 3 hours. I can't imagine what I'm gonna be like when Crux comes along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might
Oh,
learn
dude, it's
how to
insane.
fly in cruise control and just hang
Yeah.
back.
Well, dude, I figured out because when I flew Crux before, I would figure out cruise control in previous patches because yeah, like at Ahumai, there's enough straights that you can put on cruise and you can take your hands off your stick, do a little stretch back and forth. Okay, put it back on. But I don't know what CIG did to cruise. They completely messed it up, and I still haven't been able to get it to work properly.
But cruise
And
control only works in coupled mode now.
yeah, so dude, I'm gonna have to find a way. If I can find a way to use it, it is gonna be. I'm
I
gonna be
tried
really
it,
pissed.
and because cruise control isn't coupled and it engages your side thrusters to keep the TVI level, you actually fly at 10 meters per second slower than decoupled. Yeah, I tried it. You actually fly slower.
You fly slower in
That's
You fly
coupled?
slower,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
yeah. That
Well,
couple decoupled conversation doesn't happen anymore,
Yeah.
Shaq. Unfortunately,
It's
oh
only
boy.
10 meters per second, but those 10 meters per second over 24 hours is huge.
it's a huge. It makes a big difference. Yeah. We are getting a little ways
Yeah,
on
we're
time
getting
here. I don't
close. So
know.
I,
Did
I
you
actually
have
had
anything
this
else that you
this
wanted to ask him?
question
Yeah.
seeing, after everything that we've discussed, like from the XGR days that you remember to where the racing community is happening now, is it something that would interest you in, obviously personal life willing? Is it something it pushes you to get into this racing again? Sorry, I'm rambling my words. The current competitive level of Star Citizen racing, is it something that would push you to actually get back into it and go for these high skill
I
races?
absolutely love seeing the competitiveness right now. I would say it's a secondary reason for me to come back. I would say the primary reason is the game itself, right? The stability, performance of the servers, right? Um the flight model itself is the main reason why I loved racing so much. It, for me, it doesn't matter what flight model it is, I'm gonna learn it and try to be the best at it. But is it fun for me, right? And what's fun for me is usually what's fun for everybody else. So I'd say that's the primary reason for me to wanna, get back at it is get let's give some more time for CIG to keep working on the game and flesh it out some more. Right. I haven't been time trialing recently, so but I can just imagine going in the middle of a time trial and server error and okay, let me pause my timer. All right, let me keep going. Server error again. So that would just frustrate me too much. But I love seeing people still doing races, still doing time trials. And again, the bar is even higher now than it has been in the past. So, people like Fresh, right? Just killing it out there. So
Yeah.
that makes me happy to see. I'll be honest, I'll still stay in the sidelines and root and cheer everybody on, but that doesn't mean I won't come back. I do plan to one day come back 100%.
Oh
But
yeah.
when that'll happen,
Splen said the
only
same
time will
thing
tell.
recently,
So
so we need the OGs back.
yeah,
Yeah.
I talked to Splen recently. He's keeping a close eye on Star Citizen too. He wants to get back at it at some point. So
Been
we'll see.
I,
commentating
We'll
some
see.
races
yeah.
recently. Actually, he's filled that role phenomenally well, man. His voice and his
Oh
attitude
yeah,
towards it. He
Oh
makes
yeah.
such awesome commentary. Honestly,
yeah.
I'm
His
sorry, Black
charisma,
Maze.
his yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Black Maze. Split is kind of the goat at commentary.
oh dude,
He
can you
is.
imagine? Can you imagine Black Maze and Splen just commentating together? I mean,
Oh,
even Black Maze, dude, his videos, man. Like. Uh, I don't want to turn this on me, but I've been making, I've been doing videos recently, but every single time I have an idea, firstly I check if somebody's already done it. And so I'm always looking at like Splen's videos or Black Maze's videos, but the energy that Black Maze has when he does his videos, like I should probably put more energy in
I'm gonna
that.
copy
I need,
that. Yeah,
because even just watching the highlights from the Stanton Cups and stuff like that, the energy that Black Maze has, and um most of the commentary is the live moment that's happening during the race, right? So the commentary is so active and engaging, right? You want to see it
yeah.
just because Black Maze is making it so exciting. So
I remember the first time watching an XGR race and being like, "This is like watching F1.
yeah.
Like, this is awesome. This
Yeah,
is really exciting."
Black Maze is also a really smart guy. Like he would make an incredible analytics person. People like
Yeah,
him or Steve CC come to mind, right? These super high IQ people that can deliver their message in an eloquent way for everybody to understand. I mean, it's incredible. And you need to get someone like Black Maze in here, man. If you can, if you can
Oh
somehow
yeah,
get him in the podcast,
definitely is in the
we'll get
that'd be
him.
plan.
incredible.
Definitely in the plan.
We've got a list of like people we want on as guests, and Black Maze is on that list
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
definitely. I think he was one of the
Yeah.
first names that we put on that list, but we called you in because this is like a perfect discussion, especially coming out of Daymar. This was just just the perfect
Yeah.
combo to have. So
Speaking
Yeah.
of commentary and Splen, I heard he was supposed to be at the last sitcon, but he got sick and
Mm-hmm.
so
Cyberfox
Steve
was
CC filled his place.
Steve CC
Yeah.
was in the analytics desk actually. So you were mentioning
Yeah.
Steve CC being great at analytics, and I was gonna mention actually that he did a phenomenal job at analyzing the races. So every 3 races there was a break, and Steve CC and Papa Freedom were doing the analysis. And after getting some feedback from the people who were there, I was like, so because I wanted to get feedback from the people just to see from a production's perspective, how did you find the event. And everyone was like, the analysis part was just made things so much more professional, and the guys who were talking about it were really really good and helped explain it for the people who didn't understand what was happening. After hearing their analysis, just like, oh shit, now everything makes so much more sense. Then from race after race they could start picking up the things that Steve was mentioning. So
Yeah, we
really
need more
awesome there.
analyst desks for sure. It's been great.
Cyberfox was
I
actually the one who picked up from Splen getting sick. They called them, I think,
yeah.
just a few days or a week out of sitcon, and he
Wow.
he accepted. He walked in. He gathered us
Oh,
all
he
the
did a
night
great job.
before,
He was
and he
incredible.
was like interviewing all of us one by one. He's like, okay, so what is your history? What's your favorite chip? Like, which of these tracks are you most excited for? And he did all of this research, and then on the day of the race, he was just bombarding
Bang,
commentary with like
bang, bang.
it,
That's awesome.
everything that you need. Like one of the most important things about commentary I find, because I'm really like I what's the thing, I'm picky when it comes to commentators, right? So one of the things that I love about a commentator is if there's a let's call it a dull moment in the race or whatever sport it is, to fill it with analytics, right, or data. Like,
Hmm.
this player has this history and it's his specialty, blah blah blah, and it's just Cyberfox did that phenomenally well.
Yeah, he definitely came across like someone who had months to prepare, but I didn't know he was,
The night
filler
before.
a week out.
The night,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, he did
That's
an
awesome.
awesome job
yeah, he
there.
did an incredible job. We need him to come on more. Him, yeah, him, Splen, Blackman. I mean, there's a lot of really good
There's a lot. I mean,
commentators
our list. I mean,
in the space.
hopefully we'll get everyone. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
I
mentioned
was gonna. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly mention about because we talked about production and Formula One. That's another thing that Black Mesa and Osashis pushed and wanted to get really good at. To and I think a lot of the reason why XGR is perceived so well is because of the quality of the broadcast and the production that was output. And it all came from those two guys, right? I remember in the staff Discord channel, Black Maze showed a clip of what it looks like to be behind the scenes of the Formula One like production crew. And it was just like the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life but with so much happening in the race and they are able to be everywhere at the right place at the right time, but it shows how they were able to do it. And it looked like absolute chaos, but it was such a well-oiled machine. It was absolutely incredible, and it's just on YouTube for everyone to see.
Yeah.
I remember Black Maze being like, "This is what I want us to be. This is the bar that I'm setting for us," and and that pushed XGR to output like a really good, broadcast, partnering with the right people like Diplo, right, with SCR, helped a lot. That clip I sent you earlier about Yadar kind of shows that, right, with the graphics and
yeah,
the commentary and the camera crew, right, having multiple cameras and very key locations to be able to capture moments, right, knowing where the fights are happening, if there's a potential overtake, to be able to switch to that specific camera. Like there's a lot going on in the background, and just having good high quality production with commentary, right? Camera crews, having a director, not just a race director, but like a production director to be able to kind of point the camera at the right place, or so much happening. I think Black Maze and Joey Joey and Osashis, they take a lot of credit for that. Well, I'll give them a lot of credit for that because I was there when they're pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, they did a very phenomenal job. I mean, XGR has set the bar for what the broadcasted competitive level of these races can be. So definitely
Yeah.
doing an awesome job. I mean, Antia and Atmo are doing some pretty good jobs as well. But I think XGR is probably where it all started for this level of competitive ship racing. At least if we're only going to focus on ship racing, definitely XGR has started it all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone else kind of had to play catch up, really.
Yeah,
But
I mean, or do their
they're
own
getting
thing
there.
from, they didn't have to reinvent the wheel, I guess, at that point, but everybody just put their own flair, and it just looks good when you have so many dedicated people putting so much effort into the production of something like this, because at the end of the day, I mean, Star Citizen is meant to be a sandbox, right? So we don't have all these tools, but everybody just works together to make it seem like, we have all these tools. So, I don't know.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
There you go. We're all good.
Just at the end there.
Um,
Did you have
yeah,
any
I mean,
final questions or something? Because we're about an
I'm
hour and a
I'm
half in.
good. Yeah. No, I think I'm good. I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
No, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, of
Yeah, thanks
course.
for
Well,
coming on,
thank you
Shacknu. It was
so
great.
much, Shacknu, for coming in. Do you have anything you want to plug before we head off? Like,
Bring back racing shields.
Yeah, please.
Well, I say bring back, but it was never
Bring them.
where are
it
those
was never
racing
a
shields?
thing, but there is a super early video released years ago of like two ships crashing into each other, and
Yeah.
you see the racing shields or shields that have
Still
that,
the
but
XGR Discord clip.
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, rubbing is racing, so is what
Please,
people
CIG.
say. So
Please, please.
please, but
One
yeah,
day,
I'm
one
excited
day.
for the future of Star Citizen. I'm excited for the future of Star Citizen racing, and I got the green light to go to CitizenCon later this year, so I hope to meet a lot of
Yeah.
you all in person. I think
Hell
October
yeah.
or November, whenever it happens.
Nice.
So
It's probably what I'm gonna try and go. I don't know, Jacqueline, because I mean the guess is it's probably gonna be North America, right? That's kind of the. I
The
don't think we
guess. I
have a
mean,
I think
since
it's
clarification on
back
what
in
last
state.
year.
Manchester
Is
Are
it?
they
for
talking about
this
back in
year.
Manchester?
I mean, if it is,
That's
I'm
what I heard,
definitely
unless they
going.
changed it.
There's no way I'm missing it if it's in Manchester. It's only a 3-hour flight away from me, so
Yeah, I mean, if it's a little harder, I'll make it happen though. I think this year because last year I really wanted to and I didn't. But anyways,
on that
I will.
note,
I
final
want to
question for Shacknu. Um,
go.
Atmo mentioned that they're gonna release a ship racing league, and I'm not sure if they're gonna do it the same way that they did Fight or Flight, but let's pretend that they will, and the finalists get flown out to SitCon. Is that something that would drive you to get in, practice, and join that competitive league and compete on stage at
Yeah,
SitCon?
yeah, that was part of my pitch to my wife when I said, "Hey, if I join this, racing league and perform well, I'm hearing rumors that potentially maybe,
Yeah, we gotta
I'll
put the
get
caveat.
my
These are
I'll get
Yeah, I
my
rumors.
mean,
tickets
nothing's
and, I'll
confirmed.
get my tickets paid for, if I for the people that make the cut." And, as soon as I said that, she was like, "Well, you better perform well then." So,
I don't think we have any doubt.
I mean, dude,
so
I really want to compete in it. I don't know. We don't know much about anything with it yet. Even if it's for sure gonna happen, but
Yeah.
there's it
I mean,
sounds like it should. It
they've
might.
re-announced it again yesterday. They just haven't given up details. They've been mentioning over and over again. The ship racing league is coming. The ship racing league is coming. But
Yeah.
yeah, we don't know the details of it just yet. But I think we can assume that Enter
Crucian, if you're
Atmosphere.
watching,
Yeah.
DM me. Let me know. I'll help you out, man. I'm happy to help.
That's conflict of interest if you're gonna help Ant compete.
If I got involved, I probably wouldn't compete. I would.
Yeah.
It would hurt, and I wouldn't want to. But yeah, still.
That's
Anyways,
it's gonna be an exciting year for Stars for racing with the ship racing league, with the 24-hour Crux Cups of the first
yeah.
first touch of a 24 hours endurance race in Star Citizen. It's looking good, and server meshing looks like it's actually heading in the right direction. So lots of exciting stuff to look forward to. So yeah. I think
Thanks
we'll.
everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to the live podcast. For those who did not manage or maybe came in late, I will be uploading the VOD of it to my YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/@Jackaden. And yeah, we will be back in another 2 weeks because we are finally set a set schedule every Sunday, every other Sunday actually. So yeah. Next podcast on the 2nd of
1
February.
p.m.
So
PST. Yeah, 1 p.m. PST, 4 p.m. EST. What is it? UTC, Jacko?
UTC is 21. I'm in Central European time, so UTC is just me plus one. So yes, UTC is this 2100 UTC. So yeah.
There you go.
So thank you once again, Shacknu, for coming. Obviously, thank you, Derek, as well for being here. It's a shame we couldn't have Bill Boy. It would have been a really fun 4-way discussion. But yeah, hopefully he'll be back for the next one. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining in, and